Hey, Peggy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, clearing with a low of 58, then Wednesday, sunshine with a high of 80. Summer is here, so have a night to remember with dinner and a show at Crooner's Supper Club. Crooner's is located in Fridley on Highway 65, just north of I-694. Check out their concert schedules and dinner menus at croonersmn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies are trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Peggy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, today we got our friend Bob Blake from Red Lake, our Solar Bear with the Solar News and Sports coming up in a little bit. Also, I want to remind everyone here listening locally on AM 950 that we will be playing the Lamb Back episode right after this show. AM 950 will be playing this, and it's hosted by Nick Thielsen of Indian Collective, and he'll be interviewing Macklemore, which is pretty cool, and his real name is Benjamin Hammond Haggerty. So Macklemore on next with Indian Collective, and their Indian Collective will be playing their podcasts on AM 950 right after Native Roots Radio twice a month here, every other week here, starting 2 weeks ago. So good to know. And I want to we asked the lieutenant governor to send us an update every once in a while, how she's doing and what's going on. And I want to just let everybody know that she sent us one, and I want to play her. Lieutenant Governor, take it away.
Well, thanks, Robert. It's always great to be with you. We're just days away from the August 11th primary, and Minnesotans can vote right now. And as we head into these final days, I keep thinking about all of the people who built this campaign. Over the last year and a half, I've traveled to 112 communities and talked with thousands of Minnesotans. They trusted me with the truth about their lives, what they're up against, and what brings them hope. And everywhere I go, I hear the same thing. Life is too expensive, and we need serious change in Washington. People are working hard and still falling behind. An unexpected car repair becomes a financial emergency. A trip to the grocery store includes asking your kiddo to put something back on the shelf. People are skipping the doctor because they're afraid of the bill. And that's not because people have failed. It's the consequence of a broken political system that puts billionaires, corporations, and powerful special interests ahead of working people. An Indian country understands what happens when Washington stops listening to the people it's supposed to serve. For generations, decisions have been made about us, without us. Treaties have been ignored, promises have been broken, and Native people have had to fight to be seen and heard by our own government. And that's why representation matters. But representation can't just mean having a Native person in the room. That's not good enough. It has to mean bringing our values into that room and remembering who we are accountable to. I remember what it felt like growing up believing that the bottom could fall out at any moment. My single mom, needed food stamps, childcare assistance, a Section 8 housing voucher to pay the rent, and Medicaid to get by. Those programs gave our family solid ground to stand on and helped lift us towards the middle class. And that's what government should do. It should help people build something better. And in Minnesota, we know something better is possible because we've built it before. I co-chaired the campaign to raise the minimum wage and index it to inflation. I helped lead the fight for paid family and medical leave. And I worked to deliver free school meals and a nation-leading child tax credit. People thought those were moonshot ideas at the time, but we got it done. And those victories happened because people organized for it. And if there's one thing I know, it's that you get what you organize for. And that's why I'm running for the United States Senate, to help people afford the lives they want to live. I will fight for universal child care so parents don't have to choose between their careers and caring for their children. I'll fight to build housing that working families can afford and ban Wall Street from buying up entire neighborhoods. I'll fight to end prior authorization so that some dude behind a desk, or even worse, AI, can't deny the care that your doctor prescribed. I will work towards passing Medicare for all, because in the richest country on earth, healthcare should be a human right. And I'll fight for an immigration system rooted in due process and dignity that keeps families safe and together. And I will fight to feed children here at home, not to send taxpayer dollars to bomb children overseas. Donald Trump is dragging us in the wrong direction. He cut healthcare and food assistance while giving billions in tax breaks to the people at the very, very top. He unleashed ICE on our communities, killed our neighbors, and left families living with fear and trauma. Meeting this moment requires that Democrats are willing to stand up and fight back. But delivering change also means taking on the powerful interests that benefit from things being exactly the way they are right now. 6 super PACs and dark money organizations have spent nearly $19 million trying to defeat our campaign and decide who should represent Minnesota in the Senate. The health insurance industry does not want you to have universal health care. The crypto industry does not want anyone standing between it and its profits. AIPAC does not want a senator who will oppose blank checks to Benjamin Netanyahu. They're not spending millions because they care deeply about Minnesota. They're spending it because they want a senator who will protect their interests and do their bidding. I'm the only candidate in this race who's not taking a dime of corporate PAC money. The people of Minnesota will never have to wonder who I work for. This Senate seat belongs to you, not the highest bidder. And despite everything being thrown at us, Minnesotans keep choosing this campaign. Nearly 40,000 DFLers participated in the grassroots process that led to our endorsement by the DFL party. Indian countries showed up in historic numbers, the largest Native contingent we have ever seen. Tribal leaders from across Minnesota were there, Native organizers, Native young people, Native elders. And that's what it's going to take for us to win on August 11th. All of us. And I'm proud to have support from Senators Tina Smith, Attorney General Keith Ellison, Representative Betty McCollum and Ilhan Omar, tribal leaders, and working people across Minnesota. But the most important endorsement I can earn, that endorsement is yours. On August 11th, we have a real choice. We can accept a Washington status quo, that works for billionaires, corporations, and special interests, or we can demand a transformational change candidate that working families need. This campaign has always been about the many versus the money. They may have more money, but we have people, we have community, we have each other. And organized people can beat organized money, but only if we show up. So make a plan to vote on or before August 11th. Talk with your family, text your friends, check on the elders in your life, help someone cast their ballot. And when we win, I'm not going to Washington alone. I'm taking all of you with me because this Senate seat belongs to the people of Minnesota. I'm part of the many, you're part of the many, and I'm betting on us. Chimi Gwech for listening, for caring for one another, and for continuing to organize and lead across Indian country. Back to you, Robert Pinagigi.
Hey, thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for that update. Really appreciate you and your message. I just really appreciate you and talking straight talk to our listening audience. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to hear from the Lieutenant Governor. We're going to have Bob Blake up next here, and I want to remind everyone not to touch that dial unless you're turning up the radio. I like that one. Hey, we're going to add Bob on here for a minute here. We're about to take a break. Up next, you like that one, didn't you, Bob? He's shaking his head.
That was great.
Yes. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. Up next, Bob Blake from Red Lake. The Solar Bear with the solar news and sports. We got a lot to talk about. This is Native Roots Radio. Ho!
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovated Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and it's always good to be able to crack up Bob Blake. I appreciate you, Bob, for laughing at my dad jokes there. It's always fun having you on, and boy, we've been on together for quite a few years. This is our 10th season on Native Roots Radio, and you've been right with us all the way. Remember the old days we used to go we were on Saturday for an hour, and we'd go out to eat after the show. Uncle Curtis would pray us off, smudge us off before the show. Those were the days.
Old Chicago. We used to go sit over at Old Chicago. I remember those days, Robert. Those were the best. And I remember the first time you asked me to come on, and I was so nervous. I was like, oh no, I don't want to say anything wrong or bad or mess up anything. And here we are 10 years later, and it's been a great ride, Robert. You, Wendy, Uncle Curtis, what you've done for our community with this program, getting our voices out there, what we're thinking, what's going on in our community. You truly have been a treasure, Robert, and you've sort of started something because, now it feels like everybody wants to get in on the Native Roots Radio Network train.
Yeah.
And I just think that speaks to like how like what you talk about, Robert. You've always said, join start a nonprofit, start a business, go get higher education. You said, and I put that in one of my posts because I'm like one of those people that was listening to you that actually believed you. And I was like, well, I'm going to do all that because Robert's telling me to.
And run for office. You ran for city council too.
And I ran for city council because I'm listening to Native Roots Radio Network on AM 950. And I'm like, this guy's got what it takes. This guy's saying the truth. And of course, Robert, I know who you are because you were one of my brother's best friends growing up. And so I've always known you, which is the reason why I started listening to you in the first place. And then you were saying that, and I was like, oh, I'm totally going to do that now. And I'm telling you guys, it was the best thing that I ever did. And now to see all these Native people that are running for office, getting involved, just Robert, kudos to you, bud, for just putting it out there and being a voice, one of the voices for our community. It's been wonderful. It's been a good ride.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And, Bob, definitely amplifying our guests' messages, because I really came in here with a clean slate of not knowing everything that's going around, especially all over Turtle Island, not just Minnesota, but all over Turtle Island, and all the guests we've had on that, tell our audience and educate our audience. I just hope that Native Roots Radio over the years has been a great place for us to amplify other people's voices, because as you know, I don't know much.
No, it is true. And for you, just now, you just had the Lieutenant Governor on, and she was incidentally, Lieutenant Governor, our sister Peggy, could you please send me a link to donate to your campaign? I love donating to our Lieutenant Governor's campaign, and I just realized listening to that, I was like, oh my God, I got to donate to Peggy's campaign. I totally forgot. I've been totally spacing it. And I feel terrible because I haven't gotten to it, but I'm going to do it now, Peggy. So your campaign people, please send the Solar Bear that link. But anyways, with that being said, and everyone, please donate to the Lieutenant Governor's, her link. But getting back to what she was talking about, Robert, it is true that corporations and this crypto mafia or whatever you want to call it is really trying to buy this campaign. And I firmly believe in that this government is still the people's, even though there's a law in the books called Citizens United that would say otherwise. I firmly believe that this is for the people, by the people, we the people. And I support the lieutenant governor to be our next senator for the great state of Minnesota, because she's from here. She's Minnesotan. She's about the community. She's about the state. And, I think that she's going to do a great job for us. Now, I'm just also going to point out to the fact too of some of the things that her opponent has done, that, she voted for, that Lincoln Riley Act, right? What, that,
right.
She's supported, by this, and let's understand the crypto thing, you guys. That's just another way for drug dealers and for money to not be traced. And if you look at the way some of these folks are using crypto, they're using it to fund these campaigns. This is not very democratic. And I always point back to the point of cash in hand to be able to pay the kid who's trying to make some extra dollars mowing lawns, to be able to help someone who's hey, I got to borrow you some money to pay your rent this month. If we go complete digital, Robert, we won't be able to do those things anymore. And every transaction's going to be tracked. Every transaction's going to be looked at. Paying that kid after school that just is going to mow the lawn and clean up the yard, you can't do that. And those are skills, Robert, that build character, that build community. Mm-hmm. I stand with our lieutenant governor in saying that is not the way to go. So this primary coming up August 11th, I believe. Let's make sure that we vote Peggy in to be our next senator for the state of Minnesota, and obviously November 3rd, when she goes up against the Republican opponent, let's also vote for her then too.
One of the things I want to remind everyone too, and it's been brought up a couple times, Bob, is to vote early. And the reason why and behind that is so you can help other people that need to go out and vote and can't and need some direction. And so that's what we're kind of promoting here on Native Roots Radio too, is get out there and vote early, find out how to vote and vote. And, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. It's just important to vote and, vote for people that stand for what you stand for.
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. That's a good point. Please vote for who you believe stands for and holds your values. And I tell you, Robert, it's just so important that we also too have this Native representation. That we have folks that have been here since time immemorial, have been on this land, right, representing it and fighting for it. We are in a very serious time, Robert. The world is literally on fire. Everyone, I'm going to say something, and Robert, you're going to get calls on this, but they said it was 90 degrees in Antarctica. Okay. In Antarctica today. Yeah. 90 degrees in Antarctica. You can Google that, everyone. Please Google it. You can see it. But they're saying that it was 90 degrees in Antarctica. Robert, that is bad. That is bad for the planet. That is bad for the world. And I just feel like, we really need to take this seriously, you all. Half of Spokane, Washington, Robert, was ablaze just recently from some wildfires out there. People had to move from their homes. I don't know if there was any lives lost, but it looked horrific when they did the before and after pictures I saw of Spokane, Washington. So, this is serious. Rivers are going dry. We're looking at the Rio Grande that look like it's going dry. I can't believe that's happening. The Colorado River is at one of its lowest points. So, everyone, and I don't want to bring this up either, Robert, but I think I'd be remiss if I didn't. But I feel like this is one of the last times in this, and also in 2 years from now, the next presidential race, where we can really take back our democracy, where we can really make a difference. I mean, I think it's that serious, Robert. I think that we have to all show up and vote. We can't. And I'm just going to say, I think you got to vote for the donkey up and down the ballot, because, this is that important to our democracy, Robert. And I can't stress that enough, that people get to the polls this year and really take back what I believe is rightfully the people's, which is this democracy in this country.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's show up time here. And we have, I know you have a lot of nieces and nephews, and we have to really, for the next generation, really step it up and get out there. And that's why I say, let's get out and vote early. And then so we can help our relatives get to the polls, and, funky things are happening. So getting out early and voting and getting that vote counted and put in there right away is the way to go. Hey, Bob, we're going to take a quick break here, but I'd really like to know, talk about the Solar Bear with the solar news next, and also some of your speaking engagements too. I see popping up here. Really proud of you and how Solar Bear has really been in the mainstream. Just think about that. We were handing out T-shirts at the first ever Indian presidential caucus. We won't say who we passed them out to, but we did pass out T-shirts that said "Resist." Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. If you're reaching for that dial, do not change us, turn us up. Ho!
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Programming is supported in part by Health Partners. If you're age 65 plus and qualify for medical assistance, you may also qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. This all-in-one plan bundles Medicare, medical assistance, prescription drug coverage, and dental coverage into one simple $0 premium plan That also includes $0 medical copays. In addition to saving money, you can get lots of extra benefits and perks, like a dedicated care coordinator, up to $400 each year in rewards for preventative screenings, transportation, a fitness club membership, and more. This can help you live safely and healthy and independently. If you're a senior on a budget, transportation assistance can be huge. Plus, who couldn't use an extra $400 these days? Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
August means the beginning of football season, and Popcorn in Minnetonka has you ready to go with their flavor of the month, beer cheese pretzel popcorn. It's Popcorn's delicious cheesy popcorn made with real cheese, salty good pretzel pieces, all covered in a beer cheese seasoning. The perfect snack for your pro and college preseason ramp-up. And get your popcorn in a tin featuring sports and military logos in either 1 or 3 gallon sizes. Visit Popcorn Store in Minnetonka or order online to ship their amazing popcorn across the USA. Go to popcorn.com. That's popcorn.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, clearing with a low of 58, then Wednesday, sunshine with a high of 80. Summer is here, so have a night to remember with dinner and a show at Crooner's Supper Club. Crooner's is located in Fridley on Highway 65, just north of I-694. Check out their concert schedules and dinner menus at croonersmn.com.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Bobby Wilson.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio. Hey, Bob, I want to play something for you here. And, you know, sometimes I'm a little hard for me to play stuff live, but I'm going to try and do this here. There's a guy I listen to on TikTok and Facebook, and I want you to take a listen to what he has to say here. Well,
Hey, Minnesota, you've got a Democratic primary coming up for U.S. Senate. I want to talk to you about Peggy Flanagan and who she's running against, that being Angie Craig. And let's talk a little bit about Angie Craig first, and we'll get back to Peggy. Angie Craig voted to thank ICE for their service last year. That's a thing that she did. She also voted in favor of the Laken Riley Act, which has been used to strip immigrants of a lot of their rights. You know who loves Angie? Crypto Bros, because she's a ranking member of the House Agricultural Committee, and she helped to introduce the Clarity Act, which many call a dangerous deregulation of crypto. Also, she's been endorsed by Chuck Schumer, so same as it ever was. Meanwhile, Peggy Flanagan is a progressive. As lieutenant governor, she helped pave the way for things like raising minimum wage, paid family and medical leave, providing free school meals to children, expanding healthcare, all while standing against ICE, not voting to thank them, standing against them. Also, if elected, she'd be the first Indigenous woman to...
So I always like sharing stuff like that because these people, you know, and it's so true. It's like I think Peggy's ahead in the polls right now, especially after when you get asked something and you can kind of answer but not really answer. Like, did you talk to somebody about voting for them while they were in emergency? No, I didn't, but you might have sent somebody to talk to them to endorse you. And so there's all those things, Robert, that just show that the lieutenant governor is the right person, and we really appreciate her. And so we'll be speaking our truth as much as possible. But again, get out and vote.
Well, first of all, I just want to say John Hoffman is a stand-up guy and is a great public servant. Robert, I was sitting alone at the Governor's Workforce Development Board. You want to know who comes and sits with me and has lunch with me? John Hoffman. And I end up becoming he's my buddy on the Governor's Workforce Development Board, and made me feel comfortable. It was my first day there. I didn't know anyone. And this guy reaches out to me out of everybody in there. There must have been 150 people there. And John comes and sits with me, and we start having a good time, laughing it up. He talks about all the Native people he's friends with. And we had a blast because we knew some mutual people. But, you know, what a great guy. And so if John Hoffman is saying what he's saying, I'm telling everybody right now, John Hopkins is a stand-up guy and he's telling the truth.
Mhm.
And he and his family did not deserve what happened to them, pure and simple. Here's the other thing I want to say about this, Robert, is the governor that Francisco Hung, who is running for governor in Wisconsin, okay? And she says, Robert, she says, you know, because they're calling her, you know, these progressive, radical, social, democratic socialists, okay? Robert, I just want to say something. She put in here, she says, why she goes, okay, you're saying all that about us, but you know what's radical? To have $7.25 as the minimum wage still. That's radical to me. Now, Robert, she makes a very good point here, because I like Bill Maher. You know, I met Bill Maher and told him some jokes, and he's a good guy. But, you know, whenever he gets on TV, he gets mad about these democratic socialists, right?
Right.
But he never mentions these things about $7.25 minimum wage still being around.
No.
And so my question to folks like Bill and these Republicans and all these people that are trying to demonize democratic socialists, all they're asking for is a livable wage. All they're asking for is affordable health care, affordable housing, and just the ability to spend time with their families and raise them. Why does this have to be so radical? You know what I mean? And if you really think about it, before the Democratic Party got very corporate, this is the way Democrats used to be. This is how they were. This was the party that I remember as a kid holding up my Geraldine Ferraro sign, who I had no idea who Geraldine Ferraro was. But my mom's got a picture of me as a little kid holding up a Geraldine Ferraro sign. And I'm telling you, Robert, like, that's the way the party used to be. And I think that if this leads us back to having a stronger middle class in this country, if this brings back us being able to have those things that just regular families want, then I say democratic socialism all the way then, because then Solar Bear is a democratic socialist. And I think a lot of Americans, probably 90%, are democratic socialists, if you really think about it. So if that means us just wanting to be able to pay our bills, raise our families, be able to have police, fire, the libraries, I don't think that that's very radical at all, Robert.
Well, you get these buzzwords out there and people jump on them and they don't really know what they mean. They just, you know, it's always putting us against each other, and it's the thing of scarcity. It gets everybody all freaked out, and it's like, if we're bombing Iran to bejesus and spending billions of dollars, I don't know, a day, a week, don't tell me we can't have universal health care.
And Robert, it just came out today. The United States doesn't have like any more long-range missiles or whatever. Now, everyone, I am with you, and I'm with Eisenhower and the military industrial complex. But let me tell you something. I am also about defense. I'm also about protecting the country, about protecting other countries, because there are people out there like Putin. There are people out there that want to do democracy's harm. And we have to be able to have a strong defense to counteract that offense that they want to do. And I'm telling you, Robert, hog's breath and dump are only making this country weaker when they do the things that they are doing currently right now. And I tell you right now, Robert, I think that's under the guise of our foreign enemies like Putin and company, who are telling them to make us less military ready, you know, for now and into the future. So I really firmly believe that there are some Russian plants in our government right now, and there is some internal fighting happening in our government right now. And I'm telling you, the Solar Bear is sniffing this out, everyone. And this came out today, and I do not like the way Heg's breath, and he's from Minnesota, which is terrible. But I don't like the way that this guy is is lessening our Army readiness to deal with outside forces that want to do us and our allies harm in this world.
Bob, one of the things too we're finding out, Iran doesn't need nuclear weapons. They're doing just fine without it, and they're blocking the whole way, the waterway there, and with very little trouble. And then drones are a big thing. So they don't need a nuclear. They're showing it right now that this war was supposed to be over in a week, and it's 6 months, and they're showing that they don't need a nuclear bomb, or nuclear weapon. They're doing just fine without it.
We are spending trillions. They are spending hundreds of dollars. That is the reality of this situation, Robert. It is so stupid. Everyone, please get out. And here's the other thing too, Robert. I think that folks need to understand about the current situation with this with this president. And I want to read you something real quick, audience, because I think this is important to know. This is a reminder that no federal election in the United States has ever been canceled or postponed due to war or any other reason. The U.S. Constitution does not grant any president any authority to unilaterally delay or cancel a federal election, period, Robert.
Right. And, we're going to be fighting this, that, and that's the whole thing. That's why we talk about here. We got to get out and vote and make it such a landslide that nobody can really question who won.
Absolutely. And Robert, this kind of flows right into this next subject I wanted to bring up on the Solar Bear with the news. And it's this bill that just got that is happening with AI in New York, and they're banning it, right?
Yes.
And I'm telling you, Robert, this artificial intelligence data centers are not only going to crash the economy, but if we build these data centers, it's probably going to take the planet along with it too. So we can't afford to have a nuclear weapon go off. We can't afford to have data centers. And more importantly, we do not need to be putting all our money into investment into these things. We need to put our money into investment into roads, bridges, building, new aquifers for our cities. Because I'll tell you, Robert, water is life, and we're running out of fresh water, and so we need to be thinking about the future. And I believe personally that data centers are not the way to go. And I like this this bill that came out of New York banning them.
Yeah, definitely. And we really have to really jump into it more and figure it out. These data centers, AI, all these things that are coming really fast. And again, vote for people that respect human beings and are not for the dollar, because it is a civil war between the rich and the poor. It's just that some of our poor allies are brainwashed, watching Fox News or whatever they're watching. And also, Robert, our mainstream media is really doing us wrong. And so that's great to have you on and talk about these things. We're going to take a quick break here. And, there's some things happening this weekend, whether it was the Minnesota Twins. I mean, the Brewers are kicking butt, and we got to give them our flowers, because we get a lot of people. We're in the civic media all over Wisconsin. We want to give our flowers out there. But there was also a big basketball game I want to talk to you about in the next segment. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're going to be right back after the short break. Stay with us. Ho-wah.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation. I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
I love Wendy with the little bear rar there.
Rawr.
Exactly. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're back with Bob Blake, Solar Bear with the Solar News. Hey, one thing I wanted to talk about just before we get into the sports segment of the Solar Bear News and Sports is, the ICE has signed a deal to use the Prairie Correctional facility here in Appleton, Minnesota. I know there's an Appleton, Wisconsin, but this is Appleton, Minnesota. Again, what's going on here? I mean, this is so these camps. I mean, I'm at that age, when I was born, World War II was over for 15 years. And my father fought in World War II in the Korean War. And, what Germany did to people like the Jewish population is just, I just can't fathom. I just can't understand this. I really can't.
Well, Robert, it's this attack on education. It's this attack on defunding education by the Republican Party, which they started it in the 80s. And what the Republicans realized through their test groups is that if they dumb down a populace enough that not to understand or know about their history, that they're doomed to repeat it. And that's what Germany understands completely. And that's why when you walk around Germany, you can't help to not walk into a monument or a plaque reminding the citizenry over there of what the Nazis did. And so when you're faced with that type of reality every day, you can take a pulse of the German public, and they are totally against fascism. And so when you have a government that is suppressing the truth, that is doing away with DEI programs, that is trying to tell the public that the other is the problem, right? And that right there in itself manifests itself into this. I'm sorry, but the movie Idiocracy Mike Judge did is completely playing out in this country because people are against education. And that is a really sad state that we are currently in this country. And I am actually for bringing back free college, free education, free 2-year education at least, free associate degrees for every U.S. citizen, because that investment pays off in dividends into this democracy. And let's not forget, Robert, the originator of democracy. He's that Greek philosopher, and I can't remember his name right now. It's not Aristotle, it's not Plato, it's Socrates. Socrates said that he hated democracy because what if you get a illiterate, like, populace that is not educated and votes the wrong person in? Oh, wow, Robert, that might have just happened.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this too, because we can segue into another part of this. So the bad guy was, in the United States was the Irish, then the Italians, then it's a gay marriage, and now it's trans. The big thing is trans athletes, and it's like, we just had in Minnesota here a team with Mega Barbie show up, and really she got schooled and booed, and then there was a small group of like 10 people out there. Of course, the media covered it that were supporting Mega Barbie, and I'm talking about what's her name, Sophie Cunningham, and your thoughts.
Well, I just feel like the American public is getting sick of the culture wars. And I feel like this is just another, example of the right and the Republican, far right Republican media that want to stir controversy and get ratings for their programs. But for the majority of Americans, their concerns are about, well, how am I going to pay this $4.25 gas bill I just got? A gallon. How am I going to put food on the table? How am I going to deal with inflation? How am I going to deal with, with the rising cost of raising a child, And so, I hear you, and I'm really sorry for those individuals that really do have the time to focus in on Mega Barbie and her trans statements, because they really don't affect regular people. And what regular people are concerned are far more greater and far more important than that. And, I think it's just ignorance. And I'll go back to the Lady Gaga song, I'm born this way. You know what I mean? Like, I think we should all respect everyone for how everywhere there's enough to go around. Everyone can have a piece, a part of this world or of this planet. I mean, there's a space for all of us on the bus, Robert. And I think that was what Martin Luther King preached too. And he was a very wise man.
And Paul Wellstone, get on the bus.
And Paul Wellstone, exactly. So I'm thinking about two great leaders that said there was enough for us on the bus and for all of us to be in there moving forward. And that's exactly what we do. But allow these people to fall to the wayside, because that's exactly what's going to happen. And they're going to find one day when they get older and they're sitting there that the time that they wasted on that could have been time that they could have been putting in with the people that they love and that they care for every day. Because in the end, that's what really matters, Robert.
Right on. And we talk about this too, that, there's TV shows called The Hoarders and things like that. But these people that are billionaires and now $1 trillionaire are hoarding money. And there's people starving. There's people homeless. There's, how do you look at yourself in the mirror when you're hoarding all these assets, these money? It's just, and then supporting people that are doing that, voting against and supporting against your own wishes. It's just amazing.
Robert, there's a billionaire tax now that's being voted on by the citizens of California to do a one-time tax on billionaires that's going to bring in astronomical amounts of money to the state of California. And I'm telling you right now, everyone, that is the way to go. We need to be able to have this tax against the billionaires and bring back some of this money, like you're saying, because it's like the Charlie Rich. Remember Charlie Rich, the old country singer guy, and he sings this song called "Rollin' with the Flow." "Rollin' with the Flow" is the name of the song, and he says in the song, he says, "Can't take it with you when you're gone." And and he's so right. And he made that song like when I was probably born, actually. I think he wrote that song and sang it. But it was one of my dad's favorite songs. So he used to play it. And I remember as a baby, as a kid, listening to that song. And I've always loved it ever since in my entire life. And I'll still play it thinking about my dad. But in those words, though, there's no truer sense of advice that Charlie Rich says, and it's the point that we should really be able to. We're the richest country in the world. We need to be able to bring back the middle class, because that's what made this country strong.
Unions, unions. And didn't he sing What Goes On Behind Closed Doors too?
Yeah, there is the song about behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So when we get behind closed doors.
There you go.
You are really ripping it today, Robert. You are really coming up with the liners today.
Well, my job is just to crack up our producer behind the curtain there and make sure she's laughing, Misko, and I think we got a couple chuckles out of her. Hey, we need to thanks Bob and thanks Lieutenant Governor for dropping in, and I really appreciate you, Bob.
Yep, that's the Solar Bear with the solar news and sports next week.
Well, we did a little. We talked about solar. Yeah, we did. Hey, if you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance from Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on. It's sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, vote. We're still here. We are the seventh generation. We'll see you tomorrow.
The city of Minneapolis